She regained consciousness with the iron taste of blood resting on her tongue. Dust from the wagon floor had glued itself to her lips like sand. Her skull throbbed as if someone had slammed a plank across the back of her head. For a second, she feared she'd already crossed over to the other side. But then pain shot through her ribs, sharp, angry, alive, reminding her she hadn't escaped this world yet, not even close. She wished she had. Raina Forster, age 22, had no real place to call home. She was the kind of girl who learned too early that Lone Mesa didn't care who went missing or who crawled back begging for mercy. The summer sun pressed itself onto the land, heavy and cruel. The sky felt like a burning skillet flipped upside down, and the men searching for her burned hotter still. She heard their voices rising from behind the horse shed. They argued about who had spotted her running out the rear door of the gambling hall. She knew that voice. She heard it every night in her worst memories. The voice that once told her, "No woman walks away unless someone pays." Her breath snagged in her throat. Tears threatened, but she swallowed them back. Crying made noise. Noise meant she would be dragged back. Barefoot, heart pounding, dress damp with sweat and dust, she pushed forward, past the shed, past the trough, past the shouts of men who wanted to claim her like property. Don't look back. If she turned, she'd freeze, and freezing meant dying. She kept walking until Lone Mesa became nothing more than a blur behind her. She had no idea where she was going. She only knew she needed to reach the Willow Bend River. Water meant life. Water meant she might scrub off the filth clinging to her skin. By midday she collapsed under the thin shade of a crooked cottonwood. Her throat felt like sandpaper. Her legs shook. The whole world shimmered like melted gold. Out here, the prairie didn't care if a girl disappeared. She whispered a prayer to her mother, to the wind, to any soul willing to hear. Just one night, just one safe night, enough to last until dawn. The land answered only with silence. Then she saw movement through the hot sunlight. Not a wagon, not the men hunting her. A horse, and beside it a tall man with a blue bandana knotted at his neck, walking with the calm steadiness of someone who feared absolutely nothing. Raina tried to stand. Her legs buckled. She dropped to her knees, breath trembling. What could she say to him? Would this stranger help her or finish what the others started? And what if she asked him the question she feared most? What if she begged him to buy her one night of safety? Her voice barely escaped her lips, more breath than sound. The man stopped, watched her with the quiet patience of a rancher spotting a lost calf. The brim of his hat shadowed his eyes, leaving only the outline of a strong, weather-worn figure carved by heat and dust. Raina felt small, scared, and ashamed for what she was about to ask. He stepped closer, boots crunching. His horse snorted behind him. He finally stood before her. She lifted her chin just enough to meet his shadow. Then, with lips shaking, she whispered the words that burned inside her. "Can you buy me?" The air went still. She wished she could shove the words back into her throat, bury them deep, but they hung there, heavy, broken, desperate. The stranger didn't flinch, didn't gasp, didn't curse. He just waited. Then, in a low, steady voice that made her heart stop for a breath, he asked, "Why would a girl like you ask for something like that?" She couldn't answer, not out loud. She needed shelter, water, one single safe night. So she simply nodded. His jaw tightened, not with anger, but with something else, something she couldn't yet read. He pointed toward an open wooden gate in the distance. "If you come with me, you need to understand one thing first." Her breath halted. What thing? And what would it cost? Raina followed the stranger through the gate. Her legs trembled with every step. The ranch felt different, the earth softer, the air calmer. They reached the porch of a modest ranch house. He opened the door silently, stepping aside so she could enter. Inside smelled of coffee, dust, and old timber. A jacket tossed over a chair, gloves on the table, and a picture frame turned face down. People only turn pictures down when they're hiding something. He set his hat aside and finally told her his name, Colt Meriden. A quiet name for a quiet man. "I didn't bring you here to buy your body." The words landed heavy, solid, filling the small room. Raina didn't know whether to run or crumble. He gestured toward the back room. "There's a bed, clean sheets. Lock works from the inside. No one will touch you here." Those words nearly broke her. Not because they were soft, but because no man had ever offered safety without asking for something first. She whispered a shaky "thank you." He poured water into a cup and set it before her. "Drink. Heat kills faster than fear." She realized then this man had seen loss, enough to recognize it in her without a single explanation. "Now, before we dive deeper, take a small pause with me. Tell me in the comments from which place are you watching this story right now. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button, partner. It helps more than you know. Raina closed the room door gently behind her. Silence settled around her, the good kind, warm and still. A narrow bed, a folded blanket, a Bible coated with dust, a small window looking over sunlit fields. She washed her face. She lay on the bed for just a minute. Her body gave out and she slept. By the time she woke, the sky outside had turned orange. Sundown crept in, and trouble always followed sundown. She stepped outside and found Colt mending a fence rail. Slow, methodical, like a man who understood work more than words. Without looking up, he said, "Trouble don't stay where it starts, it travels, and I reckon yours is traveling this way." Cold fear crawled up her arms. Before she could speak, a sharp whistle cut the air. A rider appeared on the ridge, then another and a third. 3 silhouettes, 3 devils she knew too well. They rode fast, reckless, dust swirling behind them. Colt straightened, not scared, not surprised, just ready. "If those men are here for you," he said, "don't run from me." She swallowed. Running had kept her alive, but something in his voice made her stay. The riders thundered to the gate. Dust rose. Even the crickets went silent. The lead rider shouted her name. Raina felt her knees weaken, but Colt stepped in front of her. The riders laughed. One spun a knife, another spat in the dirt. "Step aside, old man, or we'll take her through you." Colt didn't reach for a gun. Instead, he pulled a folded paper from inside his coat. "This ranch, every acre, belongs to me. Sheriff signed off this morning." He pointed his chin toward Raina, who stood tall on the porch, Colt's rifle steady in her hands. For the first time, her hands didn't shake. The math changed instantly. An old man alone? Easy target. An old man, a girl with a rifle, a fresh deed, and a sheriff who hated trouble? Not worth dying over. They cursed, turned their horses, and vanished into the dark. Raina's breath returned. For the first time in her life, hope flickered. A small flame, but real. As she and Colt walked back toward the porch, she wondered, why help a stranger when there's no reward? What kind of man chooses kindness without being asked? Maybe that's the hidden truth of the old frontier, that sometimes the right thing is done quietly, without applause, without any promise it'll come back. Before we close this chapter, let me ask you something. Who's the one person who stood beside you when you needed it most? And would you do the same for someone else? If this touched your heart even a little, go ahead and like the video. And if you want more long Wild West tales like this, hit that subscribe button again. It truly helps this storyteller keep going. Now, take a breath, settle, because the next chapter reveals what was hidden inside that face-down picture frame and why Colt's kindness may cost both of them more than either is ready to pay.